before, but these are going to be the questions. Nevertheless, mixed bag. Over here, the Daughters of the American Revolution, providing a map of the U.S. in Yiddish, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep looking at the tenement museum. But the vast majority of Jews arriving were in tenements, they were living in New York, they were very squashed, they were in the parliament bathrooms. They would also take in anybody who came from sort of their same town. That's a special thing, for that. And they just to get a few more pennies, a little bit of money. Sometimes a bed would even be shared with people that shoot with them. But in all of this, samovar, all because they're trying to hold on to tradition and tradition with you. We've been lighting 2 candles, but somehow we have only one on the We've got 2 candles that light on Friday night on the traditional, and also the challah bread here, and this is for wine. But if you just arrived and you've got no money, you may be working all Friday night, you may have to go Saturday. So it's again this balance of not just adaptation and change, but it's also a lift. So what do? It's a challenge. It's a big challenge. Okay. I'm going to stop here for a minute. How do you find out what's going on? Well, of course, you'll talk to perhaps neighbors who also speak Yiddish. That will be helpful. But you're going to learn through a newspaper in your language. And the biggest one was started by Abraham Kahan, who was a socialist, and actually had a socialist message in his newspaper, the forwards. And these wonderful letters here, Hebrew letters in the making one. Here's a Hebrew typewriter. Hebrew letters, the language is Yiddish.
Would it have been back from me?
Yeah. And so that had a huge. Actually, it's still around. It's in English online. That shows you how far we've come. But what I want to point out, not just that they had the news and everybody read it, but they also had a gallery of missing husbands that they put in there. Yes, because all of this chain of people coming over when they could manage it was splitting up families and causing all kinds of issues, like another part of the challenge of immigration. And the other one is what I rather love. It's called the Bintel Brief. The Bintel Brief means a bunch of letters. It's an advice column. You could write in, and all kinds of stories. So one story is a woman writes and she says, I want to learn English, but I have to work all day sewing, and my husband says I can't go out. It's dangerous. I can't go out at night on my own. And what should I do? Now, I don't know what his answer was to that one, but I think he was generally saying, yes, try and go with somebody else and find something, whatever. But, those kinds of questions, how do I adapt? How do I learn the new language? How do I become part of the new life that I have here? Yeah, exactly. All right.
All the letters. They're
And
interesting to me.
how do I do that? I've got to get educated. I've got to get educated. So what Eva did, as so many infants did, is they went to night school. So they were working 6 or 7 days a week, and some set to sundown usually, and then they would go to night school. And this is Mrs. Eva's desk and her composition book and all of her awards that she won. She gave quite good English. And so made that. There were also settlement houses. Lillian Wilde was very well known for some of the settlement houses that she developed. They would help people, again, learning English, learning some skills that they needed here. It's a picture here of a child even learning how to use a toothbrush. Yeah, exactly. So that was another part of the story, and the encouragement for everyone to learn English. And then, how are you going to earn a living? This gallery is all about earning a living. And, yeah. Exactly. Now, this is the period at which, what are you going to do with the job? This is the ready-to-wear industry. We want the work. That's one of the skills that they have. And what happens is that is the big industry that they're in because it's growing, because there's opportunities, because you don't know English, right? So you can manage it. But they're sending these girls to work. Girls do a lot of sewing. Eva becomes a buttonhole maker. And they start at 13, 14. We have a lot of kids coming in here. I pointed this picture out because very soon they're uniting for better conditions, and I say to them, what age do you think they are? And these 7th grade kids are saying, they were about my age and they didn't even go to school. And yeah, that's what happened. And some of the workers are more educated, and some of them are quite socialists, and they want to organize in unions. And so Clara Lemnith is one, a young woman, very young, and she started getting them to say, we have to work together on this. She organized this uprising of 20,000. They all went out on strike. The conditions are, as you can see, pretty awful. They lock them in, and so we can't go out for lunch, which ends up with some of these young women like Rochelle and Clara Lemnith were doing their best, but really the real effect is the triangle showcase, which really broke out triangle showcase they wore at the time. And so that was where it was they did qualify for flat truck. They got there, but they couldn't get up to this floor, the ninth floor. And then the elevators were jammed, and everything was flammable, and they were locked in. And so people started to jump. They had something to try and catch them, but it didn't work. So 147 young Jewish and Italian girls jumped to their death. Yeah, and that, as you can imagine, and as you can imagine, that really caused a huge war, and that's when you start to get some safety in, and child labor was not later, but gradually there was
Want to keep the job.
Yeah.
I don't get out
Yes.
of it.
That was the interesting thing. A lot of the girls are doing these jobs sewing in machines, but some of the men become owners. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not meant to try to sound anti-men or anything. No, it was the way it was. Pardon? It was the way of the world, for sure. Yeah, okay. Mr. Goldsmith. Oh, this is a narrow gallery again. First World War breaks out, of course, in 1914 in Europe, but not the Americans don't come in until 1917. One plus thing that you can say about the First World War, if you can find anything to say plus about any war, was that immigrants actually were brought into the military, and they were really helped to learn English, and that really did help integrate quite a lot of people. So that was good. But at the same time, what people in this country were feeling, not only that they didn't want to get entangled in a European war, but also that people coming from Europe were bringing very un-American ideas. A lot of them were socialists, communists, anarchists. And so this brings this feeling of we better close the doors. We don't want these people coming in. The other thing this shows here is that Jews and soldiers from the black community did not have their heroism recognized. And it wasn't until this picture here of President Obama finally recognizing William Shemin's family, and because of his heroism, and Henry Johnson. And there are now, I know there's now a new